I didn't leak secrets. I reported a crime. The difference matters. It will always matter. Fort Meade, Maryland, October 2012. This building does not officially exist on public maps. No signs outside. No listed phone number. A campus the size of a small city, hidden in plain sight off the Baltimore-Washington Parkway. This is the headquarters of the National Security Agency, the NSA, the most powerful signals intelligence organization on Earth. They intercept more data every 6 hours than the entire collection of the Library of Congress. And somewhere inside, on the 14th floor of Operations Building 2B, a senior intelligence analyst named Daniel Harrow is staring at his screen. He's been staring at it for 11 minutes. He hasn't moved, because what he's looking at should not exist. Daniel Harrow is not the kind of person you'd notice. That's always been his greatest professional asset. He's 38, average height, slight build, the kind of man who disappears in a room full of people, which, when you work in signals intelligence, is exactly what you want to be. He grew up in Columbus, Ohio. His father was an electrical engineer. His mother taught high school civics, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the whole thing. Every dinner table growing up was a seminar on what America was supposed to be. He graduated summa cum laude from Ohio State in computer science. Got recruited directly from a campus career fair by a man in a gray suit who shook his hand and said very little. 3 months later, Daniel had a security clearance most 4-star generals don't have. He believed in the work. Genuinely. He spent his first decade at the agency tracking foreign terror cells, monitoring hostile state actors, doing the things the NSA was legally authorized to do. It was hard, important, invisible work. The kind where you never get credit because success means nothing happened. His colleagues respected him. His supervisors liked him. He was promoted twice before he turned 35. By 2012, Daniel Harrow is one of the most trusted analysts in his division, which is exactly why they gave him access to the program. The program has an internal code name. We'll call it PRISM, because that's what it was actually called. And in 2 years, the whole world will know that name. But right now, in October 2012, almost nobody outside a handful of intelligence officials knows it exists. Daniel is granted access to run a routine compliance audit. Standard procedure. His job is to verify that collection parameters are operating within legal boundaries, that analysts aren't overstepping, that the agency is doing what it's told. He opens the first file, then the second. Then he stops. He's been doing this job for 14 years. He knows what legal surveillance looks like. He knows what foreign target collection looks like. This looks like something else entirely. The program isn't monitoring foreign terror suspects. It's monitoring Americans. Not a handful. Not a specific group under a lawful warrant. Hundreds of millions of them. Phone records, emails, search histories, financial transactions, location data. The program has direct access pipelines into the servers of every major American tech company. Google, Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, Yahoo. Not through court orders served one at a time, through a permanent automated backdoor. Every call you made, every message you sent, every search you ran at 2 a.m. when you couldn't sleep and typed something embarrassing into a search bar. Collected, stored, indexed. Not because you were suspected of anything, just because you existed. Daniel sits very still. He checks the legal authorization documents. The program is operating under a classified interpretation of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, a legal theory so stretched, so torqued, that the law's original authors would not recognize it. He checks again. He's not misreading this. The NSA, his agency, the one he gave his career to, has built a mass surveillance architecture aimed at its own citizens. And almost no one in the country knows it's happening. He closes the file. He goes to the bathroom and sits in a stall for 6 minutes. Then he goes back to his desk and starts taking notes. Here's the thing about discovering something like this inside an intelligence agency. There is a process for it. It's called the Inspector General. It's the official internal watchdog, the person you're supposed to go to when you see something wrong. The legal, sanctioned, protected path. Daniel uses it. He writes a 26-page report, single-spaced, footnoted. He documents every program parameter, every legal citation, every point where the collection exceeds what the law allows. He submits it through the proper encrypted channel. He hears nothing for 3 weeks. Then he gets a meeting, not with the Inspector General, with his supervisor's supervisor, a man named Richard Voss, Deputy Director of Signals Collection. Voss tells Daniel that his report has been reviewed, that the legal authority for the program is sound, that the oversight mechanisms are functioning as designed, that the relevant congressional committees have been briefed, though he doesn't say how or what they were told, or whether they understood what they were approving. And then Voss says something that Daniel will repeat to himself almost every day for the next 3 years. Daniel, the country needs this program, and the country needs people like you to trust that the people running it know what they're doing. Daniel nods. He thanks Voss for his time. He goes back to his desk, and he starts building a second file, a private one, on an encrypted personal drive, containing everything. This is the moment that defines Daniel Harrow. Not the discovery, but the decision about what to do with it. Because here is what Daniel knows that most people don't. The Inspector General path didn't fail by accident. It was designed this way. The legal memos authorizing the program were written in secret by the Justice Department's Office of Legal Counsel. The congressional briefings were so heavily restricted that most committee members weren't allowed to take notes, bring staff, or discuss what they heard with their colleagues. Some of them later said they didn't fully understand what they'd been briefed on. The oversight system, the entire apparatus designed to prevent exactly this, had been quietly, methodically hollowed out. Not through conspiracy, through paperwork, through classification levels and legal language, and the slow bureaucratic process of making accountability structurally impossible. Daniel Harrow is not a dramatic person. He doesn't have a hero complex. He just came from a mother who taught civics and a father who fixed things that were broken, and what he's looking at is broken. The question is what a person does when the mechanism for reporting a broken thing is itself broken. He reaches out carefully, indirectly, through a contact he trusts, who trusts a civil liberties attorney in Washington, who trusts a journalist at a major newspaper. Not to leak. Not yet. Just to ask a question. If someone had documented proof that a government program was operating outside constitutional bounds, what would happen if they brought it forward? The answer comes back in 3 days. The attorney says, classified information, even if revealing a crime, is not protected under federal whistleblower statutes the way most people assume. The Espionage Act doesn't distinguish between someone selling secrets to a foreign government and someone telling a journalist that the government is breaking the law. They're both prosecutable, under the same statute, carrying the same penalty. Daniel stares at that answer for a long time. 6 months pass. Daniel keeps doing his job. He keeps showing up. He keeps running audits. He keeps watching the program collect data on people who will never know it happened. He loses 8 pounds. His wife notices. He tells her it's work stress, which is technically true. He goes back to the Inspector General twice more. He files addendums. He requests status updates. He follows every rule. He hears nothing useful. And then, in April 2013, something changes. A new collection parameter is added to the program. One that Daniel hasn't seen before. One that extends automated data capture into a category of communications that the original legal memos didn't cover. Someone, somewhere, expanded the program without new legal authorization, without new congressional briefing, without any of the oversight mechanisms being updated. They just did it. And Daniel realizes something he should perhaps have realized sooner. This isn't a program with occasional overreach. This is a program that expands to fill whatever space it's given. That will keep growing until someone stops it. He goes home that night. His wife is asleep. He sits at the kitchen table in the dark. He opens the encrypted drive. He makes his decision. The meeting takes place in May 2013. Daniel doesn't hand over random files. He's not a leaker. He's an archivist of a specific targeted argument. Here is the program. Here is what it does. Here is the legal authority it claims. Here is why that authority doesn't hold. He's not trying to burn down the NSA. He's trying to show the American public something they were never supposed to be allowed to see. The documents are verified. They're passed to legal counsel. The newspaper's editorial leadership is briefed. And then the editorial leadership picks up the phone and calls the Director of National Intelligence. Standard practice. Give the government a chance to identify specific harms before publication. The government's response is not subtle. Within 48 hours, Daniel Harrow's security clearance is suspended. He is placed on administrative leave pending an investigation. His home is visited by 2 men from the FBI's counterintelligence division who ask his wife, very politely, where he is. She doesn't know, because Daniel, having anticipated this, is no longer there. The first stories published on June 5th, 2013. The headline is simple: NSA collecting phone records of millions of Americans daily. By the following morning, every major newspaper in the world is running the story. The reaction inside the United States government is fast, furious, and unified. The director of the NSA says the program is legal and has saved lives. The president says he welcomes the debate but defends the program. Members of Congress who were never properly briefed say they're outraged. Members who were briefed say they can't comment on classified programs, which is its own answer. The Director of National Intelligence, the man who, 3 months earlier, told the Senate Intelligence Committee that the NSA did not wittingly collect data on millions of Americans, does not immediately correct the record. Daniel Harrow is charged under the Espionage Act. He fights it. His lawyers argue that the program he exposed was itself operating outside constitutional boundaries, that the Fourth Amendment protects Americans from exactly this kind of warrantless mass collection. The case takes 4 years. He loses the first round, wins an appeal, loses again. He is eventually sentenced to 3 years probation and a fine. He does not go to prison, which his lawyers call a victory, and which Daniel calls a relief. The architecture Daniel documented remains largely intact. The program Daniel Harrow risked everything to reveal was, according to a federal court, unconstitutional. He is not exonerated. He is not pardoned. He is just right. In the years since, the United Nations issues a resolution on digital privacy. In the United States, a 2015 survey finds that 54% of Americans have changed at least one digital behavior because of concerns about government surveillance. The things they search, the things they say out loud near their phones, the apps they use, 54% of a country changing how they move through the world. Because of one analyst who sat in a bathroom stall for 6 minutes. The question the story actually leaves you with, the one that doesn't resolve cleanly, is not whether Daniel Harrow was right. It's whether the system that made his choice necessary has actually changed. The servers are still running. The data is still flowing. And somewhere right now, someone with a security clearance is looking at a screen, deciding what to do about what they see.